Good afternoon, morning, night, whenever it is that you're watching this video. I'm talking about something today that everybody needs to implement into their business to have success. Because we talk about going out and getting deals, lead generating, and that's important, but you don't want to be on that hamster wheel of generating leads and then doing work and then not having leads and then having to go back out and generate more leads and doing the work and then running out of leads. How can we make it so that we have a steady supply of leads coming toward us? Now, it does take time. It doesn't happen overnight, but the quickest and best and most effective way to do that is what we're going to talk about today, and that is your database. What is a database? That's a great question, right? Database can be a lot of things because we have our CRM, your customer relationship manager tool, and here at Goodwood Realty, of course, we use KV Core, but there are a number of different CRMs you can use. I'm sure not even every agent here uses the same one. They have some free ones out there. There's some paid ones. Try different things and see what works for you ultimately. That's what's important is that it works for you. But that's one way, or that's one form of a database. And that's a really powerful and leveraged database. And the reason that we like CRMs is because you can use that database and then create campaigns that are automatically run to that database. You can run ads out of that database that will put people automatically into that database. So it's a really powerful database. It's a high-tech database. But you know what? Your cell phone is a database. You've got numbers in there. Your Facebook page is a database because you have all these names of people that you know in there. So there are a number of different databases you can use. Any social media page can be a database for you. You can have a database written down on a piece of paper or on a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet. So there's no limit to what your database has to look like, and there's no limit to how many databases you might have. You can have multiple databases for different purposes. So again, one of the things that a CRM allows you to do is put hashtags onto different people. So that way, if you want to create a sub database of a certain subset of people, you can. So for instance, if everyone that came into my database through one of the ads that I'm running, and let's say that ad was for a property in Baker, and I put an automated hashtag Baker on anyone who clicks on that ad, well, then if I wanted to go back into that database later and look up all those people who might be interested in property in Baker, I could type in the hashtag Baker, and that could be a little sub database, a little subset in my database, and I can send something specifically to those people that I might not want to send to people in Prairieville or Denham Springs. It might be two different markets. Nonetheless, you can have different databases. You might have one for your close friends and family. You might have one for people that you kind of know, and you might have different marketing going out to those type of people. So think about your database, but here's the thing. There are 3 factors that really go into monetizing your database. The first is your contact with your database. That's factor number 1. And that's probably the right place to start because no matter the size of your database, it's all about the contact that you have with your database. If you're not doing that consistently, you might as well not have a database. So let's pretend for a moment that I'm going to create a database, and this database is going to be a database of my friends and family and the people I know, my ex-coworkers, people that I worship with, people I went to school with, all these people that I know, my sphere of influence. That's going to be one database for me. Well, before I start worrying about who's in that database, let me worry about how. How am I going to reach out to this database? What is my plan of action? Do I want to use emails, texts, mailers? Do I want to use phone calls, visits? Do I want to invite them out to events, seminars, etc.? And of course, the answer is it's probably going to be a combination of those things. But here's the thing. I want to plan that out ahead of time. Because if I don't, and I might end up scrambling trying to contact 50, 100, 200 people and without a plan. And that's hard to do. If I said, oh, you know what, I'm going to do a phone call this month. If I didn't know that ahead of time, I might not have the time set aside to do all those 200 phone calls, right? If I plan that out ahead of time, I can space those out, plan it out, and say, okay, what I need to do is 10 phone calls a day this month for the 20 days that I'll be working, and make sure that those get done. So think about, first of all, how many times you want to reach out to your database. And here's the key. More is better, right? McDonald's can never have too many commercials. Charmin can never have too many commercials. Not possible. Get Gordon. He can't have too many billboards. So more is always better than less. And here's another pro tip for you. It doesn't always have to be real estate related, okay? You're gonna want some stuff that's real estate related, but there's a lot of times you can reach out to your database just to say hi, just to say, hey, I found a really great place. They bake cupcakes. I just wanted to tell you about it. I know you like cupcakes. Everybody likes cupcakes. I mean, whatever. So think about how you're going to reach out to them, what those contacts are going to be. Maybe in March, it's a spring cleaning contact. Maybe you even hook up with a cleaning service to provide a coupon, $20 off of spring cleaning. And now that's an excuse to reach out to your database and give them this coupon. And you're building a relationship with this cleaning service who may reciprocate, and maybe they'll do some advertising for you as well. You're advertising for them, helping to network and build another business, right? So that's my March contact. And then maybe later on in March, I don't know, I want to say I'm going to send out a handwritten note to my database. So early in March, I start planning. I say, how many handwritten notes do I have? Do I have the materials? Do I have the postcards, the pens, the stamps, the envelopes, whatever I need? Get those together and start planning out, okay, well, if I need to reach this many people, that means I need to do this many notes per day. When am I going to do that? I need to set aside time to write this many notes. It's going to take me about 1 hour or 2 hours each day to write the 10 notes that I need to write. So for me to reach 200 people, I need to set 2 hours a day aside for 20 days out of this month so I can get those notes out. And that'll be touch number 2. I haven't even started this yet. So now I'm thinking about April. What's my next thing in April? Do I talk about one of the upcoming sports seasons? Maybe I send out a mailer for a schedule. I guess it's not football season. It's something season, I'm sure. Maybe baseball season's coming up, right? So maybe I send out a schedule and a refrigerator magnet to everyone in my database so that they have that and they're reminded of me. I don't have to talk about real estate. Yes, it has to be branded because it's an advertisement and we have to be, abide by the regulations and the rules. So it's got to have the branding on it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a big real estate item, right? Maybe in late April, what I want to do is I just want to reach out to everyone with a phone call. And I've heard some really interesting ideas about how you could reach out to someone with a phone call. One that I like is just to say, hey, I wanted to know if you have any summer plans coming up. I'm thinking about maybe going away. I'm trying to get some good ideas for where I might go this summer. Me and my family want to take a trip. You have anywhere interesting that you know about? Or have you heard anything, any places going to be really, on fire this summer? Whatever. I've heard, hey, I'm just calling to see if there's anything I can pray for you about. One of our own agents, Charita, actually came up with the idea of saying, what if I asked him for some advice, right? I'm starting it's another year is upon us. We're swinging into the summertime, and I wanted to know, what has your experience with a real estate agent been? How has that been? Because what I'm doing is I'm looking for ways I can improve my service. So have you ever had any experiences with a real estate agent? And do you have any advice for someone like me to give a high level of service? What were the positives and negatives that you experienced? I'm trying to really write those down and understand. I value your opinion. Okay, great. So now we've already got 4 touches. Well, let's keep going, right? Maybe the next one is going to be a text message. Maybe I do a nice little graphic on Canva, right? What season are we now in? May? I don't know. Whatever the case, right? May the 4th be with you. I don't care. Whatever it is, right? And you send out a little funny joke to people. But nonetheless, you're putting your face in front of them and you're reaching them, and you're doing this consistently, and you're doing this methodically and systematically. So you're not just scattershot, hey, whenever I talk to you, I talk to you. That might work for your best friend that you grew up with. You don't have to talk to them for 5 years and they're still going to come and be your best friend. But for most people, the truth is they're not thinking about what you do every day. They're not thinking, oh, that's my buddy. They're in real estate. That's not what's on their mind every day. You're not thinking about what your friends do for a living every single day. And if real estate pops up, and guess what? And they happen to see some agent's card sitting on their kitchen counter, that's probably who they're going to call, because it's right there. So we need to be right there all the time. And that's the purpose of working your database consistently. So the first factor is it's a contact sport. What is factor number 2? So factor number 2 with your database is the size of your database. So you're only going to be able to get so many leads from a small database. So ideally, you want your database to grow. Now, that being said, it might not be a great idea to start out with a huge database, because you might want some time to develop those skills in how to contact them. Remember, I'd rather see someone with a smaller database that they're contacting consistently than with a huge database, but they never reach out to these people, because that doesn't do you any good. So make sure that contact comes first, that you have that plan, and that as you add people, that you can still do the contacts. You may need to go back and adjust what types of contact you're making with your database, depending on how many people are in there. Because now if you get to 200 and 300 people, you might say, hey, you know what, I might need to take out these handwritten notes. That's going to be difficult. Or I may need to find a way to do this once a year instead of twice a year and spread it out over a longer period of time. Nonetheless, over time, the bigger your database, if you're contacting them, if you're doing it right, the bigger your database, the more business you can get. Hey everybody, just a quick moment to mention, if you are enjoying the video, if you feel like you're getting some benefit from it, like and subscribe to the channel, please. Also, be sure to mention how much they've helped, because I want other people to watch these videos as well, and benefit, and also sign up for the free coaching as well. So back to the action. So that's factor number 2. And I say, break that down into small daily goals. If you want to build a database, now whether that's online, whether that's your CRM, whether that's phone numbers in your phone, whether that's followers or whatever the case. I'll give you my personal example. I built a pretty good business off of Facebook. I had a Facebook business page, and they tell you how many followers you have on there, and I'm allowed to, boost posts and promote to my followers, and I really like that as a database. That was one of my top databases that I used. Well, I didn't start off having thousands of followers. I started off with a few. But what I did was I set a daily goal, and I said, well, I'm going to try to get 10 new followers a day. And I'm going to try to see what activities are getting me followers and do those activities. 10 a day. 10 a day. That's my goal. And you know what? It's a good goal to get, but it's attainable. So when I got 10, guess what? I felt great. I didn't feel like I failed that day, or I didn't have to look and say, well, I don't have 3,000 followers yet. I only have 300. No. Look, I'm at 300. My goal is to get to 310. I got to 310. I'm rocking and rolling, because tomorrow I'm going to get to 320. Over time, you're going to get to thousands and thousands of people in your database. That's how that works. So in growing your database, set small daily goals that you can attain. Figure out how you can do that. So that's where you need to really figure it out. Well, how do I get more followers? How can I do this? Is it ads? Do I have to talk to people on the street and tell them to follow me here? Do I have some other method of getting followers? Or whatever the case may be, right? Maybe it's just I need to just go out and talk to people and get their information, and with business cards, and they give me their business cards, and I say, I'm gonna put you in my phone and put you in my database, right? Follow me online, I'll follow you back, whatever the case. But figure out how. If you don't know how, that's what Google is for, that's what YouTube is for, that's what coaching is for. So you have to take the initiative and make sure that you learn how to do it, how to grow your database, and then grow it little by little each day. The beautiful thing about a database is it never goes away. So if you have 200 people in your database today, guess what? A month from now, those same 200 people haven't gone anywhere. They're still in your database. So all you really can do is add to it. So it's a very worthwhile pursuit. It's a worthwhile endeavor to try to grow your database little by little. Do it over a year, 2 years. All of a sudden, you have a couple of thousand people following. So now, when you say to yourself, well, you know what? My ads, my social media ads aren't taking it. They're not effective. Well, guess what happens? When you have 5,000 people in your database, you're going to have more, they're going to be more effective, especially when you're communicating with that database on a regular basis. They know your name, they know your face, they like you, they love you. So that's our first 2 points on your database, how to make money from it. 1, just to remind you guys, it's a contact sport. Plan your contact, make sure you can do it, budget for it, see how much it's going to cost you. 2, grow your database. Okay. Now the third one's a little bit more tricky. This is a little more advanced. That's going to be the quality of your database. Okay. The quality of your database is the third point. So after we've grown it, now we might start weeding some people out of it, and that's okay. We don't really want to shrink our database. That's not the goal. We're always trying to grow it, but at the same time, we want to have the right people in there. So if we know that there's someone who will never in a million years will work with us, never in a million years will refer us to anyone, that's probably not a person you need to have taken up space in your database. You don't necessarily need to spend 50 cents to send them a letter twice a year. You don't need to buy them a cupcake every year. It may not be necessary. Maybe their spouse is a realtor. Okay, well, they're never going to use you in a million years. Okay, fine. Take them out. You know, you want to focus on the people that are actually engaging with you, the ones that will bring you business, the ones that comment, like, share your posts, support your business, because now you're developing a high quality database, and the money and the time that you're spending marketing to that database is going to give you a higher return, right? I would much rather have 250 people that really love me, really support me, than 1,000 people, but only 50 of them, care at all. So, again, don't get it wrong. The goal is not to shrink your database. It's to grow it, but also grow it with quality. So if you're growing a sphere database, as an example, let's say you're talking about your sphere of influence. Again, these are the people that actually would answer the phone for you and maybe refer business to you at some point. Now, what if you're trying to get a database of people you don't know, just a target market? Well, how can you trim the fat and sort of make sure that's a quality database? Well, make sure that the people in that database actually fall into your target demographic. Do they live in Omaha, Nebraska? Is that where most of your marketing is directed to? Maybe that's not someone you definitely necessarily need to keep in your database. On the other hand, if you have a target market and you're like, hey, I do Prairieville. Prairieville is my spot. Well, try to put people from Prairieville in there. You want to see how you can add more people from that area into your database, whether you know them or not. Market in that area. And then when you're marketing to your database, make sure that it appeals to that market. So that's how you create more quality in your database. So that's it for today. I'm not going to bore you guys any more than necessary. Thank you so much for watching, and keep watching and set up your free coaching.